Jerry Slaff arrived at Washington Dulles Airport expecting a routine departure. He and his wife were booked on an evening flight to Prague via Dublin, but their plane never left the tarmac. Late that night, the airline told them to collect their bags, go home, and try again tomorrow. They scrambled to rebook a new itinerary on another carrier, adding an unplanned stopover in Frankfurt. That second leg came with its own 6-hour delay. By the time they finally reached the Czech capital, their schedule was in ruins. The physical toll of airport sleeping, missed connections, and constant rerouting leaves travelers completely drained. Slaff and his wife were exhausted, frustrated, and behind schedule. The logistical nightmare of their journey had finally ended. But the administrative labyrinth they were about to enter would last almost an entire year. Under European Union law, specifically EC Regulation 261, airlines must pay passengers direct financial compensation for canceled or heavily delayed flights. Slaff's canceled route fell squarely under this jurisdiction. The math was clear. The airline owed the couple exactly €600 each, totaling about $1,285. The airline explicitly acknowledged they owed Slaff the money. They asked him for his banking details to process an international wire transfer. Slaff handed over his account information, and customer service quoted him a processing time of approximately 8 weeks. 8 weeks passed, then 16, then 24. Slaff spent hours trapped on hold. Representatives would open cases only to close them without notice and leave his account empty. When an international corporation takes 8 months to execute a routine wire transfer, they are deploying a calculated strategy to wear the passenger down. After months of dead ends, a customer service representative finally gave Slaff an explanation. His claim had been closed because his bank lacked a sort code, implying his U.S. financial institution didn't actually exist. This map contrasts two routing systems. Sort codes are regional, routing domestic transfers strictly within the UK and Ireland. American banks use SWIFT codes instead, the global identifiers for international wire transfers. Slaff had provided his correct SWIFT code on day one. Any major international airline processes global payments daily. Confusing a SWIFT code for a sort code serves as a deliberate stalling tactic. Slaff's banking issue highlights a much broader playbook. Airlines build specific artificial barriers to keep your compensation sitting in their accounts rather than yours. The first tactic involves manufacturing impossible requirements. Demanding regional codes from foreign institutions that cannot issue them creates a problem the traveler cannot solve. The second tactic is ignoring viable alternatives. When Slaff realized the wire transfer was stalling out, he offered to accept his payment via PayPal or even a traditional paper check. The airline ignored the offer to maintain the stall. The third tactic relies on contradictory explanations. Frontline representatives will offer completely different reasons for a delay on different phone calls. Every new excuse forces the passenger to start the process over. When all these red flags are present, the internal system is functioning exactly as intended to protect the company's capital. Slaff recognized that logic and patience were getting him nowhere. He took the only logical next step and escalated his case to a third-party consumer advocate, the Elliott advocacy team. The moment an organized consumer protection group gets involved, the corporate posture usually shifts. The airline immediately responded to the advocates, promising Slaff's funds would arrive shortly. But institutional friction is hard to overcome. Even with an advocate monitoring the situation, the airline dragged the process out for another 6 weeks. When the payment finally arrived, nearly 9 months after the flight, it exposed the absurdity of the entire ordeal. Slaff received a basic paper check for $1,285. No SWIFT codes, no sort codes, just a simple piece of paper they could have printed on day one. If you find yourself in this situation, document every phone call and email. Reject technical excuses that lack merit. Offer clear alternative payment methods, and read the specific wording of EC Regulation 261 so you know your rights. Airlines bet heavily that you will eventually get tired of fighting and abandon your claim. Informed persistence, aided by the leverage of a dedicated advocate, remains the only way to force them to write the check.